Welcome everyone. Today I have a special guest who is a productivity coach. He has picked the niche of procrastination. I personally feel that procrastination narrows your abilities while taking action and executing can broaden your abilities. And this session is very personal to me because 2 years back, there were questions in my mind that I used to ask. And today I'm going to get the answers on how can someone build self-accountability when there is no external pressure. Because as adults, we don't have too much external pressure to do things. A lot of things become automated. Welcome, Christopher from United States, and he is, along with a productivity coach, he's a procrastination. He particularly specializes in procrastination. So here's an episode with a very specialized procrastination professional. Wow, that sounds like a great name, procrastination professional.
Yeah, well,
Welcome, Christopher.
yeah. Thanks for having me, Krishiv. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for hosting.
Let's begin with how can someone build self accountability when there is no external pressure?
Yeah, and I really love this question because it's true. When we start out, as children, we have lots of rules, guidelines, deadlines, and then that starts to taper off about after right after high school, and then you get out of high school and you get into college or university, or you get into the real world, and you've got things like bills or teams on a job, but there's nothing to really drive you forward in terms of your own personal goals, or if there's no deadline, because sometimes there's a deadline way at the end, but there's no milestones. So there's a few different ways to build self accountability when there's no external pressure. And the way I look at this is that it's actually easy when you consider one thing, and that one thing is that no matter what you're doing or not doing, you're doing it for you. Whether you're doing it because of a fear-based driver, which is, a negative or undesired outcome from doing or not doing something, or a positive outcome, or like a joy driver, right? A positive outcome or, quote unquote, good outcome to either doing or not doing something. And we tend to forget that no matter what we're doing it for ourselves. And that's really the first way to build self accountability. This involves a two-step process. Most of the time, we get the questions, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Which is, a really vague question. Oh, I see myself being president. I see myself being, a leader of a company. I see myself, owning a company, whatever the case may be. But I mean, yeah, that's a great vision, but it's not really a goal. So then I was actually having this discussion with my daughter, and that that's why we developed the smart goals, right? So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Now that's good too, but we run into a problem because sometimes the goals are smart, right? So we say we want to, let's say someone with social anxiety says, I want to connect with 5 new people by the end of the year, which is a good place to start, right? So it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable because it's only 5 people, right? It's relevant because you're trying to get over social anxiety, and it's time bound. You said by the end of the year. The issue becomes that the deadline is so far out that we don't really pay attention to the amount of progress we're making, which is why it's always good to have a second model alongside the first one. I tend to use the grow model. So we have your smart goal, and then you have the grow model. So the grow model is reflecting on your goal, and you look at the reality, the progress, what's happened or not happened, and then you look at how you might need to readjust. And the next one for the O is obstacles. So, do you perceive or see any obstacles that are preventing you from moving forward in that goal? Is there any resistance? Things like that. And then for the W, it's the ways forward. So once you've identified where you are in relation to that goal, you've identified, if you need to readjust anything, and you've identified any potential obstacles or resistance, then you make those ways forward and how you can continue to your goal. And depending on how far out the deadline is, if it's a year, then you check in about once a month, once every 60 days at least, just to make sure that you're on the right track.
Okay, so the GROW model stands for goal, reflection, obstacles, and W stands for
The ways forward.
ways forward. Okay, I'm actually new to the GROW model, and well, I feel like reflection is necessary to be done on a weekly basis to analyze how the past week went. What can I learn from the past week, and how can I make the next week better?
Mhm.
Also, I feel to be self accountable, there are some things that you need to take your goals very seriously. Like, you really want to achieve them. And there has to be a strong reason attached to why that goal means to you. I'm going to quote Simon Sinek. He wrote a book called Start With Why, which I've recently read. And it speaks about the why, how, and what. And I personally feel that to beat procrastination, the first thing is that if you must have a strong why about whatever you do, because if the why is strong, you will attract the team members and the resources to to go through the how. And once you have these two things in place, everything else falls into place towards the final product service.
And you are so correct when you say I kind of rephrase it as when your why is high, your cost is low. Um, the one thing that we get into,
I
uh,
love
yeah, that yeah, when your Y is high, your cost is low. I actually got that from Rick Altig. Um, he was using it
Do
in
you
his
have
training.
any story to share around this? If your why is high, your cost is low. If you do have any short stories, I would
Oh,
love
I
to
do.
know. Yeah.
Oh, I for sure do. So, a big part of procrastination can also be distraction, escapism, and addictions. I was a high functioning alcoholic for the better part of a decade, and I was really putting off connection, with my family. I was putting off, you know, I really wasn't putting them first, right? And I had tried quitting alcohol before. I'd had those days where, and I was putting it off, right? I'd had those days where that you feel like really, really bad the next day. You can't move. You can't eat anything. You can't. Basically, you feel like you're dying, and you say, "Oh, I'll never drink again," and then next Friday, here you are, buddy opens a 24 case of beer and then you start there and who knows where you end up, right? That really changed when my daughter was about a year and a half old. And she was really my reason why to pick that up and to actually stick with it. Um, because I was playing with her and we were running down the hall. I was carrying her, and we had like a little fall. And to this day, I think, whatever God, universe, source, whatever gave me the inclination that as I was falling, I made sure that she fell on top of me. I smashed my glasses and things, but she was fine. So, she became my why. It's like I cannot allow that to happen. I just can't. And that why was more powerful than my reason for actually using the alcohol. So when your why is high, your cost is low. You can do anything if your why is strong enough.
I would love to summarize today's session for the audience. I love that line you said, if your why is high, your cost is low. And the other one is that use the grow model, goal, reflection, obstacles, and ways to move forward. And also, the best accountability partner for you is yourself. And if you still find that very difficult, find a professional. And nowadays, you have the luxury of doing it through Zoom across the world. So you can find your favorite professional. You can broaden your perspective, your abilities simply by eliminating procrastination. Thank you so much, Christopher.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Krishiv.
Thank